There are several slides up there. So if I go quickly in some portion, make me slow. You will say, sir, I can't understand you. Please go slow. And also another thing in my class, okay? Never say yes quickly. Have you understood? You will say, yes, sir. I will not encourage that. You will not say yes until and unless you will understand the topic I am teaching. Yeah. So never say yes quickly. That is SALAM'S philosophy. Okay. Try to follow this in your life, and that if it is so, then you will be happy. You will be intellectual. You will be guided by your intellectuality. Okay. I hope that everybody will be like that. Okay. So these are the questions. At present, in the world there are 95 countries, and out of the 95 countries, that source that was taken in Google, and that was in 24. Okay, so at present the number of country might increase. So out of 195 countries, 193 are UN member. Okay, and this is the population of the world. 8.1 billion people are living in this world, and every year, again, this information is collected in previous year. And also the people of this world increases by a percentage, following a percentage. Okay, following a percentage. Okay, and according to SIL publications, there are 6,909 distinct languages in this world. How many? 6,909 distinct languages, and languages are not uniformly distributed around the world. Okay, so how many continents are there? Most probably 7-8 continents. So these 7,000 languages are not equally divided in all these continents. It's not necessary to take picture, madam. Yeah, I will be giving you these slides to your email address if you provide that. Okay. So only 234 are spoken in Europe, while 2,322 are spoken in Asia. Another 2,110 are spoken in Africa, and 993 in Americas. That means North, Central, and East Americas, and also 1,250 in the Pacific. So the information is that there are 7,000 languages in this world. And what is the living language? The specific definition, living language is that language has at least one speaker for whom it is in their first language. Okay? At least one speaker should be alive, and that person will use that language as their first language. If it is so, that language is called living language. Okay, human language is considered living language. Why? Every day, it constantly, the language changes. Language in its journey gradually accommodates new words and changes. Okay, and living language adapt to new words, expressions, meanings as societies and cultures evolve. Gradual development of the society, gradual development of the culture, a language gets new word, new expression. One day, that means we know such kind of bodily expression, but according to the culture, that expression may vary. So the living language will have two characteristics. That means one characteristic, at least one speaker who is alive and who will be using it as the first language. And second one is the language is will be evolving to the sense. Yes, sir.
If only one speaker is alive, suppose.
At least.
Yeah. Then it cannot be his primary language, because there is no other people to talk with him in that language. In that case, that language automatically becomes his second language, because he is communicating with another language.
Okay.
He is the only speaker.
Okay, but what is the first language of that one person?
His mother.
Mother person. One person's language is that language. Whatever may be, when he will be speaking to others, that would be the second language of the person he is speaking to. But for him, that is the first language, or the living language. Got the point, sir? Good. Thank you.
Language.
What is the dead language? Pardon?
There is no language hidden official.
Actually, the definition. Okay, so if there is only one person, at least, so it is not necessary to get the official or other definition. So the definition is that there is the live language. Dead language, opposite. Okay, that means language that is no longer spoken by anymore or anyone of their main language. Latin is the dead language. Once upon a time, Latin was the dominant language. But gradually, Latin became the language of books. And for this reason, we follow the books. They are not written in English, but once upon a time they were written in Latin. So at present, Latin becomes the language of many literature, but at present, no first language speaker, no person who will be using language Latin as their first language or mother language. Okay, so that is the dead language. And if such kind of scenario creates for any other language, gradually, that is called that would also be called the dead language. So many languages out of this 7,000 languages, many languages have been dead language because they are unused, and gradually the speakers, the first language speaker who would use that language as their mother tongue, they have died and they have not preserved. And actually, in case of Bangladesh, many ethnic languages, Bangla academies try to accumulate their alphabet and also the others. Okay, so in case of Bangladesh as well, there are many dead language. Once upon a time, Santal language, they have no alphabet. Okay, so dead language they are trying to. Bangladesh Academy was trying to preserve their alphabet. So dead language is that is not used anymore. Ethnic language, we have got the definition. That is a dialect or variation of a language used by the specific ethnic group. Ethnic group, that means Chakma, Marma, Garo, Khassia. These are the people. They use a language, a special language. They are might a bit similar to Bangla language, but they are not the Bangla language. They are the different language, and the title and the language may be called ethnic language. And the ethnic variation in a language, there might have too many ethnic language. Okay, and also the first and the second language we have got, and it's not necessary to give the definition. The first language is the mother tongue, and the second language apart from the mother tongue, a country or a person, if he thinks that I want to learn the language for my education, for my business, for my tourism interest, for my international communication, that would be the second language. Even a country think that English or Arabic might be the second language, but a person might think that yes, I want to learn French because I want to go to France. I want to learn French because I want to go to France. So in that person, the second language of that person is French. Even in Bangladesh, English is the second language. Bangladesh think that English has got the priority for international communication. Then the country has decided that English will be taught as the second language. But apart from that, you or me may think that I will be learning French language for my necessity. For me, French will be my second language. So the definition is that apart from the first language, a person thinks a language to be necessary for his profession or education or etc. That language is second language. If there is second language, of course there might be the third language, might be the fourth language, might be the fifth language, and also the European Commission of Language, they have initiated that apart from the mother language, every student, especially in Europe, every person in Europe, they have to learn at least two languages apart from their mother language. That is multilingualism nowadays. It is not a fashion. It has been a credit. It has been a necessity. Okay, we are in a global village. We can keep ourselves aloof from the international communication. আপনি যতই নিজেকে গোটায় রাখেন না কেন, you can't. Okay, every day the person you are using Google and our other aspects. So for your necessity, you have to learn more than one language, and apart from that, and multilingualism is a credit. And if you one question, if you learn one extra language, what is the benefit? You will say, oh sir, I will also be communicating, I will be starting the language. But language learning also enhances your memory, also enhances your intellectuality, also enhances your cultural adaptability. Apne bolle eta ki sir? Yes, when you will go language, if you show this in Bangladesh, someone will come to rebuke you. But in case of European countries, this is thumb up. Okay, well done. Okay. So whenever you will be learning extra language, it may be English, it may be Hungarian, it may be Bahasa Malaysia, you will be capturing the culture of that language. So language learning is not a fashion, it is a necessity. It is a necessity. What kind of necessary equipments you will be equipped if you learn language? You will equip with memory, intellectuality, and apart from the cultural adaptability. Because language is the forefront cultural expression. With the language we can understand a country's culture as well. Okay? So এটা বলার অপেক্ষা রাখে না যে উনি ইংরেজি ভালো পড়তে পারেন, উনি স্মার্ট। No, it is his or her and everybody's necessity now. That is the first and second language. What is foreign language? Apart from the mother language, all languages are foreign language for a country, for a person. Okay, how many foreign languages for me? If there are total 7,000 languages, then for me 6,999 languages are foreign language for me, and vice versa. You
country has many languages. For the all nation, the other languages are.
Of course, in India there are 34 languages. So Marathi language, of course, will be different from Tamil language. Foreign means ki different. According to the perspectives in a country, you can say foreign means the different, alada. Okay, যদি আপনি নেশনের বাউন্ডারি দিয়ে ভাগ করতে চান তাহলে হয়তো একটু বলতেই পারেন যে ডেফিনেশনটা কেমন হয়ে গেল। হ্যাঁ, বাট the definition is that apart from the mother language, যে ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজটা আপনার কাছে অপরিচিত সেটাকে আমরা বলছি ফরেন। আমরা বলছি না যে আমি যখন we have got the vaccine of কি করোনা ভাইরাস, ওকে, why do you foreign particle what does mean? এটা কি বিদেশি পার্টিকেল? No, the foreign party that apart from my body.
বিদেশি তো বলা যায়, ভিনদেশি।
হ্যাঁ, ভিনদেশি সেটাও বলা যায়। ওকে, ভিনদেশি ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজও বলতে পারেন অথবা ভিন্ন ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজও বলতে পারেন। Got the point? Yes, that is foreign language. Official language, we have got the definition. The official language is a language having certain rights to be used in defined situation. What is the defined situation? If a language becomes the official language, then official communication will be there. Number two, in parliament that language should be used. In hospitals or international hospital, that language should be used. In judiciary, that language should be used. Okay? You may ask that question if I say that in case of judiciary, Bangla is our official language, is it? But the verdict in Bangladesh, Supreme Court, that is given in English. They are trying to get it solved, and especially the lower court, that means district court, they are initiating giving verdict in Bangla language. Okay, they are trying. Okay, but it is the scenario. Just to be critical, I have given you the information. But in case of
the British administration,
sorry.
We are following the British administration, like
not like that. Actually, why they are not shifting from English to Bengali? Most probably they might have some issues. They are trying to face that.
India, they are all.
Yes, but in case of India, you have to got the history. Actually, in India, they got English language as a welcoming language, and they accept it heartily. And from the very initial stage, that can be called Indian Renaissance. The Indian people living in India, they accept language, and they started teaching language early from Bangladesh.
Like they learn Persian, like the Muslim university.
Yes, exactly. And for this reason, their English are far more. And also another thing is that apart from Sylheti and Chittagong language, we all know Bangla language. But in case of India, 34 states, and 34 languages. So a person doesn't understand the other language, and for this reason they initiate two official languages, one English and Hindi. So in the parliament they can speak in two languages, either English or in Hindi. That is. So that is the official language. And these rights can be created in written form or in historic usage. 178 countries recognize an official language, and 101 of them recognizing more than one. That is the official language. International language, most probably I have cleared a little bit. International. International language is a language spoken by people of different nations. Different nations, not all nations. If it becomes all nations, that would be the global language. Okay, so different nations, that means a language can be used in 3 countries, 4 countries, 5 countries. That can be called international language. But when it would be used in 200 countries, that would be the global language. So what is the difference between global language across the globe? So apart from the mother tongue, if you visit Malaysia, then you will be using English, because English is understandable for you and also the people living in Malaysia. And same thing will also be happening in the other American countries. So that is the difference between Japanese, however, is not used as a great number of other countries. Yes, thank you. The same thing applies to Arabic. Japanese, however, is not used in great number of people. Actually, Japanese people are working in Bangladesh, isn't it? So whenever they will be talking to Bangladesh people, they have to use Japanese language. Okay, and that Japanese language can be called international language, but not global language. Okay, that is the difference. In case that will also be happening. Global language, there is a actually debate on global language. What is that? Whether English, Arabic, French, what are the languages used in United Nations? Do we know? Amra ki jani? English, Arabic, French, Mandarin most probably, German, 5টা most probably. Okay. কিন্তু এই আউট যেই এই 5টা কারেক্ট হতে পারে, আরো 2-একটা থাকতে পারে, বাট 5টা এটাই হতে পারে। এই 5টা ইউনাইটেড নেশনে এই ভাষা ব্যবহৃত হয়, কিন্তু 5টাকে কি আমরা গ্লোবাল ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ বলতে পারি? দেয়ার ইজ এ ডিবেট। ওকে, অ্যাকচুয়ালি Mandarin is used. Mandarin is Chinese language, the most important variant. আমাদের বাংলাদেশের মধ্যে সিলেটি যেমন একটা ভেরিয়েন্ট আছে, চিটাগাং একজন ভেরি আছে, বড়দা কোথায় গিয়েছেন, রাজশাহী আছে, কজ্জাছে মোর বেটা, বগুড়া যেমন আছে, কোনঠে যাচ্ছে বাহে, কই বগুড়া কি একজন বললো, আই এম ফ্রম বগুড়া, সিলেটি কিটা খবর ভালো নেই। So these are the variant, but apart from that, Mandarin is a variant of Chinese language. Okay, so these are used in Chinese. If the people of China becomes 2 billion or 1,080 crore, that would be 1/4, but it doesn't mean that it would be used in 8 billion people's perspectives. Okay, and for this reason only English is the global language, and there was a course over here that is English as a global language at presentation, and how the English language has been the global language, that is a long debate. Okay, and actually English nation, they have that curiosity. Okay, French, Olandas, Dutch, they also created their colony, but British colonial power, they had the intellectuality, and they have spread their colony in such a way that to spread their language as well. Okay,
spread the
culture as well. And how did they do so? They did it introducing their language, and when they did that, they also export William Shakespeare. They also export the William Shakespeare's drama Hamlet. So through the Hamlet, through William Shakespeare writing, they exported their language, culture, and their supreme British culture. And for this reason, and at the same time, you can also say that English language is easy a bit. That means there are 26 letters in Bangla. There are 49, 50 letters. Okay, in Chinese there are 7,000. Okay, so this is what. So English is the global language, and how they have done it, that is a long debate, and that is also some history will be there. Okay. Pardon?
Mainly by imperial
Perspectives, yeah. For the god of imperial perspectives. I am taking some relief to you. Yeah. Okay. So this is the scenario of languages, people, and culture of this world. Now, our concern is that what happened to English then? We have started a little bit. That is why not Arabic became the international language? Why not French became the international language? Why not Indonesia or the Indian language became the international language? English language teaching has been a subject in academic institutions like Jagannath University in 20th century. But how this situation create? I initiated some information. That is the British imperial power. They had that intellectuality to spread their language and culture. They did it. Simple answer.
I think it is always the world power and the common language that is used from Ireland. Like when the Roman Empire was using the power, they used the Roman letters, written books, and when the Greeks were the Athenian Empire, they used the Greek letters, the Iliad, the Roman, Odyssey, right?
Yes.
And then the Arabic, the Muslim Empire, was expanded from the Arabia, and the Persian, the Arabic letters came into prominence. Likewise, when the British came into power and they spread the colonies, then it became the leading language.
Good point. And that actually I wanted to say. Actually, why Bangla language will be, why and when Bangla language will be followed by the people of the other country? For three reasons. For 3 reasons. That country should have first economic power, second one political power, and third one cultural power.
But already Sierra Leone, they recognize Bangla as their
that is they have understand but
peacekeeping mission from there.
But I am speaking that why English has been followed by all the countries. He said once upon a time the Latin had been following. That is the first language. Latin was the language because at the Roman Empire, the great civilization, Greek and Roman civilization, they are the earliest civilization. And they had their military power. It is not for the power of their culture, but it is the culture of the Alexander the Great. So, and also the economic power. You know how many economic organizations at present are there in England and America? World Bank, World Health Organization, sporting organization, cultural organization, BBC, first initiated from England, and they transmitted the railways. Okay, so everywhere. So a country's language will be followed by other for 3 reasons: economic, political, and also cultural power. Cultural power including the band music, that was also initiated from English. Okay, also such kind of newspaper, first newspaper they have initiated in English. Okay, so all these are relating to their cultural power, and military power and economic power we know. So once upon a time Latin had that military and economic power, therefore, and English became the forefront because English language country's economic, political, and cultural power surpassed Roman and Latin countries' such kind of powers.
They had more colonies.
Not colonies, actually. Their economy fall, their Roman Alexander the Great defeated,
Emergence of Christianity also.
religious perspectives, it can be part of the culture, but not in a broad sense. Okay, so gradual development and innovation occurred in ELT due to many critics' concern how to teach foreign language. Okay, so when our course title is Methods and Approaches in English Language Teaching, and for this reason, English became the prominent subject in 20th century. But in 12, 13, 14, English was not the prominent subject. That was the different language. That is the Latin or Greek language. Okay. And changes in ELT approaches and methods occurred to understand how proficiency level of a learner needs to communicate orally or in written form. In 20th century, English became the subject in universities. And then that language teaching raises a question: what do we need first? Do we need the oral proficiency, that means I have to speak fluently in English or the target language, or I have the written capability? Okay. Once upon a time it happened that in 2007 তখন হলো ব্রিটেনের ইকোনমি একটু ফল করলো, তখন তারা বর্ডার উন্মুক্ত করে দিল। তখন অনেকেই মাথা কাটা পাসপোর্ট নিয়ে বিজনেস চলে গেছে। কিভাবে? আইএলটিএস দিতে হলে তো পাসপোর্ট দিয়ে দিতে হয়। হ্যাঁ, ওই পাসপোর্টে হচ্ছে একজনের আইএলটিএস দিয়েছে আরেকজন, ওখানে আগে ছবি লাগাতো, ওখানে ওই ছবিতে অন্য ছবি বসায় ওই পাসপোর্ট তার হয়ে গেছে এবং সে বিদেশে গেছে। আইএলটিএস 6.5 ডেজ। এখন ইমিগ্রেশন ইউকে বর্ডারে সেখানে গিয়ে হিথ্রোতে বলতেছে যে শো ইয়োর পাসপোর্ট, তো কিছুই জানে না ইংরেজি, ও শুয়ে পড়েছে এখানে। So that is the scenario. And what happened? তাহলে it raises the question, what proficiency we need? তার মানে ও হয়তো ইংরেজির oral proficiency ও নাই, written proficiency ও তো নাই। Okay, in the 21st century, when we got to understand that we have to learn language, then it arises another question: which one we learn? English language or every language will have 4 skills: oral, speaking, listening, reading and writing. So which one I will give prominence? Speaking or writing? And for this reason, various methods and approaches came in discussion. Okay, and which proficiency does a learner need? Oral proficiency or reading comprehension? Critics have now also mentioned to change in theories of the nature of language as well as the language learning and techniques. And in this regard, Kelly 1969 and Howard 1984, they mentioned that many current methods of language learning are derived from the older tradition and they cannot be called new methods. Okay? One question, that we have more than one approaches and methods in English language teaching or foreign language teaching, and that was many of them are new, many of them are old. Okay, but Howard and Kelly, they said that many old new language teaching approach such and methods are derived from old ones. But there are, so we have understood that many methods and approaches are there in English language teaching. What is the current scenario of foreign language teaching and learning? At present, approximately 200 countries are there in the world, 811 crore people and 7,000 languages. These are the scenario. Development of international connection, communication, foreign language learning and teaching has been necessary as a practical reason, that I have said. So many population, so many countries, and our necessity. As I have said, that means I have got sick, and for this reason, Bangladesh bhalo hocche na, I have to go to Singapore, Mount Elizabeth Hospital. Why? It is a necessity. That technology is not available in Bangladesh. This is in your portion that you have to fly over there. So English language teaching or foreign language teaching was created. But that why such kind of global communication was created? Yes, Italian navigator, you know this person. Keno, a global communication keno diversified holo. That Italian navigator Columbus discovered America in 14th November 1492.
He wanted to discover India. Instead
Yeah.
of discovering India, he ended up in South America.
Yes. And Columbus left Cashel in August 1492 with 3 ships and made landfall in the Americas in 12. Okay. Actually, that is the thing. He started in Italy and then he went to this which portion?
South America.
Yeah. Central America, South America, and also North America, in between. Okay. 3 ships.
Maybe near the Panama
3
area.
ships. It might be this way, here, that is the Virginia Strait, and also here from here, that means in between South and North America.
Maybe the
Yeah. That is the 2 probable places he landed. Who? Christopher? Before that, the world map was like that. Before Christopher Columbus discovery, before Christopher's discovery in 1492, what was the world map? This portion was out of human imagination. The large area. It was out of human mind. Okay, so what happened? Queen Elizabeth said that explore the unexplored portion of this world. Okay, and also the Queen Mary. Queen Mary, he is called the Bloody Mary because he persecuted the Protestantism, and they also lived England and also went over here in America. So that is the history. Or also you can see after the discovery of this American continent, you know, there's so many waterways are there, so many people are living. Actually, you know, here America, Christopher Columbus was discovered. But you know that these are the portion, and this, how many islands are there, island countries are there here in this portion, you know, we don't know. And of course, there had been some people of living in these areas. এখানে কলম্বাসের আমেরিকা আবিষ্কারের পরে আগেও তো এখানে কিছু মানুষজন ছিল না, যাদেরকে বলা হচ্ছে রেড ইন্ডিয়ানস, নেটিভ আমেরিকানস যাদেরকে বলা হচ্ছে। Okay, and that is the scenario. We are discussing how English language became crucial and how language learning became crucial for us. One of the reasons is Christopher Columbus's discovery of America. The second one, Vasco da Gama. He is Portuguese. Lisbon is a good city. Oh my God. Sorry, Lisbon is very close to Atlantic Ocean. Look here. And this Vasco da Gama started his journey over here. একটু মনে হয় ভিতর ছিল, এই ল্যান্ডের পাশাপাশি ছিল। এই ভদ্রলোক ল্যান্ডের পাশাপাশি ঘুরতে ঘুরতে, এটা আরেকটু দেখি, এই যে দেখি আর this is Lisbon, Portugal. And they started a journey over here, and this is Atlantic. Yes. কোথায় আসলো? Indian continent. So Vasco da Gama discovered Indian continent in 1497. Within 5 years, 1492 আর 1497. 1497 থেকে 1502 এর মধ্যেই এই জায়গাগুলো আবিষ্কার হয়ে গেল। Okay. আচ্ছা, when you will get large horizon, then what you will do? Of course, you will try to search. His aim is to explore the unexplored situation. At that time, the Portuguese, Italian, the sea voyaging countries people, they have very much intelligent. They want to explore. Okay, and exploring is a way of accumulating knowledge. As long as you will be going to a new portion or a new day, a story will collect to your head. So every day a story comes to our mind. Okay, so in such a way the people started moving here and there. যেটা কলম্বাস আবিষ্কার করলো, ভাস্কো দা গামা আবিষ্কার করলো, ওই পথ দিয়ে তো তারা একাই আর যায় নাই। তখন কি হলো, সবাই যাত্রা শুরু করলো। যখন যাত্রা শুরু করলো তখন তাদের সেই সব দেশে গিয়ে তো কথা বলতে হবে, খাইতে হবে, কিছু তো করতে হবে, কমিউনিকেশন করতে হবে। এই জন্যই একটা ভাষার দরকার হলো যেই ভাষাতে কিনা তারা কমিউনিকেট করতে পারে, যেটাকে বলা হয় গ্লোবাল ফ্রাঙ্কা, লিঙ্গুয়া ফ্রাঙ্কা। দ্যাট মিনস ফার্স্ট ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ ফর গ্লোবাল communication. Got the point? So this was the ceremony. Another thing is that, another invention, Wright brothers. They also invented aeroplane in 1903. Okay. তার মানে 1492 থেকে এই 1901 সাল পর্যন্ত বা 1903 সাল পর্যন্ত, এই পর্যন্ত সমস্ত কমিউনিকেশনগুলো কিসে হতো? ওয়াটারওয়েজ। কারণ প্লেন আবিষ্কারই হয় নাই, মানুষ কিভাবে যেত? সমুদ্রপথে যাতায়াত করতো। বাট দ্য থিং ইজ দ্যাট দিস ওয়াজ দ্য অ্যানাদার থিং দ্যাট অলসো হ্যাপেন্ড। দিস ম্যান ইখতিয়ারউদ্দিন মোহাম্মদ বখতিয়ার খিলজি, they have also, and also he had a dynasty and he ruled Bengal from 1203 to 1227. That means প্রায় 24 বছর এই বেঙ্গল শাসন করেছে ইখতিয়ারউদ্দিন মোহাম্মদ বখতিয়ার খিলজি। Okay, and also apart from that we have seen crusades, the European, the military expedition of the campaign achieve a goal, and the term can refer to the military expedition of the European Christian in the 12th, 11th and 13th centuries. They also, the European Christian people, they also recaptured the place that was captured by the Muslim ruler. Okay. That is the crusader, and so many crusades are there. Also that happened. Also another Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire was a multi-ethnic and multi-religious state that ruled over parts of Europe, Asia and Africa for more than 600 years. A Osman dynasty that was also spread, and also he ruled Europe, Asia and parts of Africa for 600 years, and that is the longest dynasty ruled by Osman Khilafat. That is called Osmanra, ইংরেজিরা তো আর ইসমান বলতে পারে না, এই জন্য তারা একে নাম দিয়ে দিল কি অটোম্যান। ওসমান বলতে পারে না, they didn't pronounce it. Okay, so Osman Empire বা Ottoman Empire, and also apart from that this situation created, so whenever the Osman dynasty after the crusade, after Ikhtiyaruddin Muhammad Bikhtiyar Khilji, for Wright brothers, for Vasco da Gama, for Christopher Columbus, when such kind of invention were there, then lots of people, tens of people, many people spread, left his mother countries and went to some other portion of this world. For why? For trade, for commerce, for trade, নিজের দেশে বিভিন্ন কারণে তারা এই সব জায়গায় ছড়িয়ে পড়লো। যখন ছড়িয়ে পড়লো তখন কি খেতে হবে, থাকতে হবে, কাজ করতে হবে, বাঁচতে হবে। এই জন্য কি দরকার? খাওয়াও যেমন দরকার, খাওয়ার পরে আরেকটা জিনিস দরকার, সেটা হলো কমিউনিকেশন। এবং কমিউনিকেশন করলে কোন ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে করবে? দেন English became the language for global communication. So this situation created the tremendous necessity for international communications. In such a juncture, foreign language teaching became crucial. এখন কেউ আর ঘরে বসে থাকতে পারে না, সবাই এক জায়গা থেকে আরেক জায়গায়। And at present 60% of the world population are multilingual. তার মানে 800 কোটির 60% কত? 648, প্রায় 5 কোটি মানুষ। প্রায় 5 কোটি মানুষ দুইটার বেশি ভাষা জানে। তার মানে in order to meet this challenge, আপনি যদি একটা ভাষা জেনে বসে থাকেন তাহলে কি আপনি পিছনে পড়ে গেলেন। এই জন্য it has been crucial. 60% of the world population are multilingual, and so the contemporary and the historical perspectives, bilingualism or multilingualism have become a practical concern rather than a fashion. My dissertation at the University of Westminster, London, that was multilingualism and multiculturalism. When I had been studying in London, সেখানে আমার টপিকও ছিল ডিসার্টেশনের মাল্টিলিঙ্গুয়ালিজম অ্যান্ড মাল্টিকালচারালিজম। So multilingual people are increasing day by day. Okay, and also another person we have left, Alexander the Great. He also, look here, the heightened portion that was ruled by Alexander the Great. And also Alexander the Great is spread. So today English is the world most widely studied foreign language. But before 600 years the scenario is not like that he mentioned. At present English is the world first language for communication or global language for communication. But 600 years back, but in 14th century, English language was not the language. Once upon a time, England was dominated by French.
Yes.
At that time, French was their first language, and English became the layman's language. যারা কাজ করতো কথাই বলতে দিত না তাদেরকে। Okay, so English language position was not like this at present before 600 years. At that time, Latin language was studied as the main language of education, commerce and religion and government in the Western world. That means 600 years back, আজ থেকে 600 বছর আগে, মানে 1400 সালে, 1200 সালে, 1300 সালে, এই সময় ল্যাটিন সেখানকার প্রধান ভাষা ছিল। কিসের? শিক্ষা, রিলিজন, গভর্নমেন্ট, কমার্স, সব জায়গায়। তার মানে ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ তখন ইংরেজি তখন সেকেন্ড, থার্ড অথবা ফোর্থ ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ ছিল। In the 16th century, for the political changes in Europe, Latin lost its position. That means French and Italian and English became the dominant language. And thus Latin became the optional subject. And French, Italian and English became the main subject in European school curriculum. And however, the study of classical Latin were at that time used to study the classical works of Virgil, Ovid and Cicero. Okay, this person, the Roman poet Virgil, he is the writer of several great epic in it. And also we have got also Roman poet Ovid, Metamorphosis, Horace and some other persons. So Roman and Latin, they were the great writers, and through the writing, the way British people export William Shakespeare, before that Greek and Roman literature, the Greek and Roman people exported their literature as well as their culture with this great writer Ovid, Metamorphosis, and also this Cicero and other important writers. So his influence on the Latin language was immense. Whose influence? That means Cicero. And this is the way. So 600 years ago, Latin and Greek language was the dominant language. But next time, English became the dominant language. Why? Latin and Greek civilization lost their power. এর আগে আমি কি বললাম? Economic power, military power and cultural power. গ্রিকদের কালচারাল পাওয়ারও ছিল, মিলিটারি পাওয়ারও ছিল এবং সেই পলিটিক্যাল পাওয়ারও ছিল। ওকে, পরে সেটা যখন শিফট হয়ে গেল তখন ইংল্যান্ড, ইটালি, ফ্রান্স, দে বিকেম দ্য ডমিনেন্ট পাওয়ারফুল কান্ট্রি ইন টার্মস অফ পাওয়ার, ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ, কালচার অ্যান্ড এভরিথিং। ওকে, অ্যান্ড for studying these classical writings and grammar and vocabulary were needed. And in the 16th, 17th and 18th century, children of Europe were entering the grammar school where Latin grammar rules. Vocabulary, writing simple sentences, translation were the chief components of foreign languages teaching and learning strategies. Okay, after the successful completion of the basic language proficiency, advanced grammar and rhetoric were introduced to the foreign language learners in such a way. So 15th, 16th, 17th and even 18th century, Latin language was the dominant language and Latin grammar was used. Okay, and foreign language learning was a fearful experience. Latin ভাষা শিখতে হবে, খুব ভালোভাবে শিখতে হবে, কোনোভাবে ভুল করা যেতে পারবে না। Okay, and if anybody makes a mistake, he would go for severe punishment. কেউ ভুল করলে, আমরা স্কুলে যখন পড়েছি একটা বানান ভুল করলে বেতের যে বাড়ি, সেটা এইরকম। এবং সেই সময় ল্যাটিন ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ অ্যান্ড গ্রিক ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ লার্নিং সিনারিওটা এরকমই ছিল। এবং Purify. Single mistakes were often met with brutal punishment. That was the situation. A few linguists like Roger Ascham, Montaigne in the 16th century and Comenius and John Locke in 17th century proposed to reform the foreign language teaching and learning curriculum. Our today's title is A Brief History of English Language Teaching. Okay. So, up to 17th century, the person had been studying and learning second language from grammatical perspectives, grammar rules and vocabulary. In 17th century, these two persons, Montaigne and Ascham, they said that actually we have to reform this method. এই যে আমরা গ্রামার এবং ভোকাবুলারি শিখে যে ভাষা শিখতেছি, এটা আমাদের কি করা দরকার? চেঞ্জ করা দরকার। হ্যাঁ, Montaigne, Roger Ascham, Comenius, these are the persons. They said that we have to change. But Latin and Greek had been identifying as the classical language and ideal form of language, and so their proposal were not reflected in that curriculum. তারা বললো কিন্তু তাদের কথা কেউ শুনলো না। কি বলে? আমাদের ল্যাটিন এখন ক্লাসিক্যাল সাবজেক্ট। হ্যাঁ, কেউ একটা ক্রিকেটে ভালো শট করলে আমরা কি বলি? ক্লাসিক শট। সেই রকম সেই সময় ল্যাটিন অ্যান্ড গ্রিকটা ছিল কি? ক্লাসিক ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ। সো সেই ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ যে ভাষায় পড়া হয় সেই মেথডটাই কি? ক্লাসিক মেথড। কার বাপের সাধ্যি যে এটাকে চেঞ্জ করার কথা বলবে? এজন্য মন্টেইন অ্যান্ড অ্যাস্কেজমের কথাটা কেউ গুরুত্ব দিল না। Gradually, the study of Latin language was declined. The study of Latin grammar became an end in itself, and modern languages started entering the European school. তাদের কথাই সত্য হলো, আস্তে আস্তে ল্যাটিন ফল করলো। আলেকজান্ডার দ্য গ্রেট হেরে গেল বিভিন্ন জায়গায়, একদম আফগানিস্তান পর্যন্ত চলে এসেছিল আলেকজান্ডার দ্য গ্রেট। তারপরে কি মনে করে ভয় পেয়ে আস্তে আস্তে সে ঘটে গেল এবং সে হেরে গেল। যখন যেটা হলো তখন কি ল্যাটিন lost their economic and military power, and gradually modern language emerges. তাহলে মডার্ন ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ আধুনিক ভাষাকে আপনি কোনগুলো সংজ্ঞায়িত করবেন? ল্যাটিন নাই। তখন কি started entering the European curriculum, and they were taught using the basic procedures that were used the foreign language. হ্যাঁ, নতুন ভাষা আসলো, কিন্তু কিভাবে শিখবে কোনো কিছু তো জানা নেই। একটাই পদ্ধতি জানা আছে, যে ভাষায় ল্যাটিন ভাষা পড়ানো হতো এবং শেখানো হতো। So they started following this old method, and for this reason they started practicing and teaching language through old method, classical method, that is the grammar translation method. Okay, and by the end of 19th century, foreign language teaching modeled on the process of Latin language teaching. A typical foreign language teaching textbook was compiled with the chapters on grammar points. Each grammar point was listed and each rule was explained and illustrated by simple sentences. So grammar, vocabulary and sentences, and apart from that the translation from first language to foreign language, target language, and vice versa. And that grammar point, our first part described the grammar rules, and second part was considered with the translation and the French into the grammar and German into French. That is the perspect of the grammar translation. Have you got the history? Once upon a time, Latin was powerful. Next time, English became powerful, but there was no method. At that time, we have old method, that is grammar translation method for writing or understanding Latin language. That was used and became the classical or old English language teaching method, that is called grammar translation. Yes, GTM. Yeah. That was the presentation, poster presentation for your previous batch. এইভাবে প্রেজেন্টেশন দিতে হবে আপনাদের। আপনার ভাগ্যে যেটা পড়বে এরকম পোস্টার বানিয়ে এনে প্রেজেন্টেশন দিতে হবে। হ্যাঁ, এটা ডিপেন্ড করবে, তখন বলে দেওয়া যাবে। ওকে, সো দ্যাট ইজ so in America, grammar translation method is known as Prussian method. So these are the definition and the benefits of grammar translation methods. So grammar translation method is called the technique or traditional method, classical method. And also there are some a method of teaching foreign language derived from the classical method of teaching Greek and Latin. That can also be the definition of grammar translation method. And grammar translation method follows some procedures. What are the procedures? Focuses on reading and writing, using vocabulary, using sentences, deductive approach. Okay, so these are the approach that inductive approach. Developing a hypothesis, that is called the deductive approach. That means from a specific hypothesis and based on the existing theory, and then designing our research strategy to test the hypothesis. Okay, that is the deductive approach. Okay, so all are included in case of grammar translation method. Okay, and after that, in 19th century, English language teaching and learning became innovated in several perspectives. In which way? Towards the mid 19th century, increased demand of the oral proficiency. এর আগে আমরা কি জানলাম যে গ্রামার ট্রান্সলেশন মেথড দুইটা কম্পোনেন্ট, রিডিং অ্যান্ড রাইটিং এর উপরে গুরুত্ব দেয়, তারা ওরাল প্রফিসিয়েন্সির উপরে গুরুত্ব দিতে পারে না। এই জন্য towards the 19th century, the person and the scholars, they thought that oral proficiency of the learners, মিডল ইস্টে অনেকে কাজ করতে যাবে, তাদের তো পত্র লিখবে না, তাদের তো কমন কিছু কথা, ইয়েস নো ভেরি গুড, এরকম কমিউনিকেশন স্টাডিজ শেখা দরকার। এই জন্য তারা বললো যে হ্যাঁ, গ্রামার ট্রান্সলেশন মেথডের মধ্য দিয়ে আমরা লিখতে পারি ভালো, হ্যাঁ, কিন্তু আমরা তো বলতে পারতেছি না। এই জন্য কি, উই নিড আ নিউ মেথড। Okay, so in the 19th century, oral proficiency was demanded by many second language users, and initially books for conversation and phrases were getting importance. তখন নতুন কোনো মেথড আসলো না, প্রথমত কনভারসেশন অ্যান্ড ডায়লগের বই বাজারে আসলো। কারণ এখন সবাই কি চাচ্ছে হচ্ছে যে আমরা এই গ্রামার এবং লিখিত ভাষার লিখিত যে কম্পোনেন্ট, এটা আমরা পারি, কিন্তু আমরা তো কথা বলতে পারছি না। এই জন্য কী করলো, ইনিশিয়ালি কিছু বই আসলো যেগুলো হলো কনভারসেশন শেখানো হবে, ডায়লগ শেখানো হবে, হোয়াট ইজ ইউর নেম, হোয়ার আর ইউ ফ্রম, হ্যাঁ, হোয়াট ডু ইউ ওয়ান্ট, হাউ মাচ ইজ দ্যাট, এইরকম কনভারসেশন আসলো। ওকে, অ্যান্ড দে থট দ্যাট পাবলিক স্কুল এডুকেশন সিস্টেম ফেইল টু ফুলফিল দ্য ডিমান্ড অফ দ্য জেনারেল অ্যান্ড দ্য পাবলিক নিডস। At that time, curriculum was based on reading and writing, but the general demands of the people that they want to learn is speaking, oral proficiency. And so in Germany, England and France and other parts of the Europe, new approaches of foreign language teaching developed by individual language teaching, initially by Marcel Pendergast and F. Guin. আগে যারা বলেছিল মন্টেইন, তাদের কথা রাখে নাই। এখন যখন ডিমান্ড জোরালো হলো, তখন এই তিন ভদ্রলোক চলে আসলেন এবং তারা বললেন যে ইয়েস, উই ক্যান প্রপোজ, বাট দে আর নট সাকসেসফুল ইন দেয়ার অ্যাটেম্পটস অ্যাজ ওয়েল। তাদের কথাও কেউ শুনলো না। অ্যান্ড Frenchman C. Marcel referred to the child language learning as a model of foreign language teaching, and he also emphasized meaning in learning. মুখস্থ, আমরা তো আগে কি করতাম, খালি মুখস্থ, কোনো কিছু বুঝি না, মুখস্থ একদম, হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ। কিন্তু পরে এই মার্সেল বলল যে আমাদের শিশুরা যেভাবে ভাষা শেখে, এভাবে আমাদেরকে অ্যাডাল্টদেরও ভাষা শেখাতে হবে, এবং উই হ্যাভ টু গিভ এমফেসিস অন মিনিং অফ দ্য ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ। Understanding the meaning, when you understand the meaning, you can understand the language, and naturally you will be able to speak on that target language. Who said that? Marcel said that. Okay, so the Englishman T. Pendergast, or guest you can say, Pendergast, proposed to observe children contextual situation clues to interpret utterances. So F. Guin also proposed another person, okay, child, and with their perspectives they said that yes, we will not teach sentences. In case of grammar translation, they would follow grammar translation, grammar, vocabulary and translation from target language to mother language and mother language to target language. এই জন্য আমাদের আগের এসএসসি পরীক্ষায় অনেকগুলো প্যাসেজ ট্রান্সলেশন থাকতো, এবং সেগুলো বোর্ডের প্যাসেজ ট্রান্সলেশন থাকতো, সেগুলো আমরা পড়তাম। তারপরে অ্যান্টোনিম সিনোনিম থাকতো, ওয়ার্ড মিনিং থাকতো, প্রত্যেকটা চ্যাপ্টারের আগেই ওয়ার্ড মিনিং। হ্যাঁ, তো এই এফ গুইন ভদ্রলোক বললো যে না, আমরা ফুল সেন্টেন্স শেখাবো না, আমরা শেখাবো কিরকম, আই ওয়াক টুয়ার্ডস দ্য ডোর, এটা আমরা শেখাবো না। আমরা কি শেখাবো? আই ওয়াক। আই ড্রো নিয়ার টু দ্য ডোর, আই ড্রো নিয়ার। ওকে, I get to the door, I get to. That means they also initiated the oral proficiency. এই যে I walk towards the door, এতগুলো ওয়ার্ড বলার থেকে আমরা বলবো simply কি I walk. And that was done with the prescription of F. Gwyn. And next time F. Gwyn's suggestion became a method. Okay, Gwyn's emphasized to the usage of the gesture and action to convey the meaning of the utterance. Okay, that means I walk to the door, that means at the same time he will be walking. Okay? So that was his proposal. Next time such activities become the part of several approaches like situational language teaching and total physical response. Okay, so we are about to finish. Okay, and I thought that you have been bored. No problem, most probably you have understood that that is the gradual development of English language teaching. That means English language became the first language in 20th century, but the scenario was not like that. Before that, Latin became the influential language, and Latin language teaching method was the oldest method. So English language teaching journey started with the old method, that is the grammar translation method. Next time, with the prescription of F. Gwyn, G. Marshall and Pendergast, actually the oral proficiency developed, and new method and approaches and curriculum came into existence. Okay, so that is the history and the innovation of English language teaching, and that is the end of our first class, that is a brief history of English language teaching. Okay, and thank you.